Today's episode, we are going to discuss 5 essential topics that must be covered during a home buying consultation. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what's poppin'?
JC, I brought with me today. Now, you have to be watching on YouTube to see this. So if you're tuned in on Spotify or Apple, I'm sorry about your luck. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see what I'm getting ready to show the rest of the audience.
Okay.
But it's a letter.
Yep.
You see this letter? It's in a fancy envelope. It's supposed to look like it's like old world, like something back from the 1700s.
Like Mark Twain or something.
I think he's the 1800s. You know, I'm thinking more like Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin time period, okay? So anyhow, it was addressed to me.
Okay.
And when I got it, fortunately or unfortunately, I knew what it was. I was like, oh, did this really happen? It shows how much attention I pay. But I'm a part of this fantasy football league that's with a bunch of great dudes, and we all went to high school together. In fact, this league I tried to get into for a decade before a spot finally opened up. And in order for me to get in, I actually had to partner with another guy. And luckily I knew this guy because we went to high school together. And at one point, if we didn't partner, they're going to make us go to Congo River, the local putt-putting place. And we're going to have a 18-hole competition. The winner was going to get the team. The winner got in this league. So I received a letter with a wax seal, right,
Like-
embroidered.
Like Maker's Mark.
Like Maker's Mark. And then inside of it is a absolute, I won't read it out loud, won't waste y'all's time
Thank
for it.
God.
But this is from the Putang clan. Okay, so that's Randy, that's Brian, who we call B-Root, and that's K-Nos, a.k.a. Kevin. And basically, it is a verbal undressing because Putang Clan waxed the asses of the tall boys. And when you lose to Putang, you don't only just show up like on the app, oh, you lost? Oh, no. You're going to get a letter in the mail with this waxed seal and your verbal undressing. So it made my day, made me smile. You want to know what's popping? The small things in life like this put a smile on my face, makes me appreciate the people I have in my life and the things that I get to be a part
First
of.
comment, you guys were losers. Second comment is, how do you still know and talk to people from high school?
It's just how things go.
How old are you?
Do you really want me to answer that?
Yes.
I'm 45 years old.
Fucking hell.
45
You
years
guys also
old.
fucking talking walkie-talkies and tin cans attached with strings?
No,
Your
we
neighbor?
don't, because if I was talking to walkie-talkies, I'm afraid those things are going to blow up in my hands.
Oh, that is cute, Dustin.
Yeah.
I wish I had friends.
You wish you had friends. Yeah, in order to have friends, you have to like people. You have to put yourself in social settings.
Nope.
Yes, and look, at the end of the day, like, we're all buddies from high school. Unfortunately, I wish like I got to hang out with them more often. I see them all once a year. It's big hugs. We do a live fantasy football draft, and the rest of the year it's getting in the WhatsApp.
Do they tune into this?
Text
Do they
thread.
tune into this?
I think some do. Yeah.
Well, good. Now you can
Some
share their
do.
episode, and hopefully we'll get some new followers.
Okay, there you go. So anyhow, that put a smile on my face. I
Good
wanted to
for you,
share it. And there
man.
are people out there that play in fantasy football leagues that they too do some fun,
Fantasy
corny,
football
weird
is
stuff.
That's part of the problem with this country.
You think so?
I
There's
know
so many
so.
other problems, John, that
That's-
you're
no,
gonna
I'm-
pick fantasy football and get
Yes,
mad at that.
The obsession that people have with fantasy football, because what's the first word in the term?
Fantasy.
Thank you. No, I rest my case. All right, on to today's episode.
Does your brain go somewhere else when you hear the
Fucking
word
live in
fantasy?
live in the real world, people. People need to be coddled. That's a problem.
Oh, coming from the conspiracy theorist who believes in aliens.
That's
you
not
are-
a theory. That's fact.
Okay.
I cannot wait. What you mean theory? Okay.
Okay. Do aliens play fantasy football, or they don't do that on their planet?
God. I just hope no, they don't.
All right. Well, yeah. Shout out to
aliens.
to the whole crew of Rep Poo for lighting up my mailbox.
Okay.
Verbally undressing me.
Okay.
and reminding me that currently they are superior in 2024 at fantasy football than I am.
Perfect. So waste no more time, because now we're going to start working on like injecting commercials. So I don't need you to like go off on another 5-minute tirade about where you're going and where you've been.
Well, we have to talk about where we're going.
Jesus Christ.
But you can go in and inject all the commercials you want. I won't talk about how great the T-Lop coaching community is. I'll let you embed a commercial for that. All right? Sound good.
Yeah, perfect.
No, you always ask me, hey, what's popping? Well, that's popping. You know what else is popping?
No, what's popping is like when you say like, hey, what's up with your day? Like, I don't want you to tell me. It's more like a greeting. Like, hey, what's popping?
Dude, we're 3 years into this.
Yes,
You're just now letting me know?
I thought it was a given. It's like when you walk in somewhere, hey, how's it going? Don't fucking tell me. Just say like, oh yeah, good. Like, hello. That's what it is.
It means, how are you doing? It means I really don't care. I'm just trying to say hello to you.
Yes, that's what most of my conversations are. Even when I answer them, it's please, I don't care. Just keep it going.
I think I liked you better when you were in the car blazing up before these episodes.
This is fine.
You came in all sober on this one.
I smoked a bowl just like I always do.
Okay.
And here's a message from our sponsors. We're not graphic designers. We need to make good, crisp, clean content quickly, effectively, efficiently. Get it posted so we can focus on generating leads, calling prospective home buyers, and following up with realtors. You know you work for you, LLC. Your personal brand is the most important brand in the picture. And with Adium's integration, you're gonna be able to create content within Canva and push it right out to your database onto your marketing platforms with a push of a button. And if that's not enough, check out what Adium has for free. It is a downloadable mortgage marketing guide ranked #1 on Google.
Alrighty, John, let's quit chit-chatting and let's jump right into today's topic.
It's not jumping right in when we're 10 minutes in, Dustin. You say jump right in. Okay, let's go.
All right, let's get ready. No, I love today's topic, and today's topic is actually something that I coached last week.
Okay.
And I coached it where I role-played with one of our T-Lop members, and it was like a 15, 20-minute role play because we had the request, let me hear you do a pre-qualification, pre-approval. Okay. And the first thing I start with, well, I don't do pre-quals. I don't do pre-approvals. I used to back when I was an amateur. I do home buying consultations because even as a lender, I do see myself as a home buying counselor. Now, I can't use the word counselor. Regulators have a big issue with that, so I can use the word advisor. So I'm a home buying advisor. I'm going to give you advice on how to buy a house. Now, I come from the financial side of things. A real estate agent may give you advice on like how to pick the right house in the right neighborhood that's going to have the best resale value and the best school zones, or that's going to be in a certain flood zone that you're trying to avoid, or, you know, whatever, you know, from a logistical standpoint when it comes to the actual piece of real estate. But as a lender, we make the magic happen. I don't know if many home buyers really understand that, but unless you're paying cash, the beginning of your journey starts by talking to a lender. It starts by having that home buying consultation with a mortgage advisor who can also get you pre-qualified and pre-approved for a home loan. But more importantly, they're going to walk you through the steps that are necessary to make sure that you're in the right place to purchase that dream home and not break your budget and not be house poor. So I have learned, after personally funding over 1,000 transactions, after growing a mortgage company from $400 million in volume to $2.4 billion, from growing a branch from one branch doing $40 million a year to 7 branches doing $70 million a month, I have learned a thing or two about how to do things properly, what to avoid, and then what to accentuate. So today's episode are the 5 things that must be accomplished if you are going to either conduct the proper home buying consultation, or to make sure, if you're a home buyer, to make sure that you received the proper home buying consultation. And for our realtors who tune in, understand that this is the difference between a good lender and a great lender, or a great lender and an average lender. A great lender is going to do the 5 things that we're going to talk about today.
That was a great intro, Dustin.
I've done this once or twice, John, or maybe 479 times. Not that I'm counting.
Don't remind me.
All right. So the first thing that I'm going to want you to do, if I was coaching you, okay, or if you're a home buyer, this is what you should expect to happen to you. And if you're a realtor, this is what you should expect your lender that you refer to offer this type of service. And if they don't, maybe you should start interviewing other lenders, or sit down with the lender that you do like and ask them to do these things. That's your prerogative, your choice. But the first thing is edify. I believe every great relationship starts with some kind of positivity. I think when you're the advisor, it puts you in a lane that now they expect you to be that type of person. And I want to be the person who is full of gratitude. I want to be the person who is positive and talks highly of others. So the first thing I'm going to do, step one, is I want to edify the lead source. And by the way, the lead source could be they found you online, like you're a consumer direct lender or you do really well with online marketing and advertising. Mm-hmm. Cool. There's a way to edify that. You could work for a credit union and your lead came because it was a member of the credit union who needs a home loan. You can edify that relationship. And then most of us, the lead probably came from a realtor, a builder, a financial advisor, or a past client. Like that's the bulk of the top producers that we coach, the top producers that I know throughout the country, that those are their primary lead sources, the realtor, builder, financial advisor, past client. But you can edify those people as well. So I'm going to give 3 examples on how to edify, then we'll just keep this conversation going. Pretty simple?
Except for what does edify mean, Dustin? I know what it means, but for the slow people that listen.
Well, one, can you spell it?
EDIFY, edify.
All right. No. On that note, John, you're a good speller. I love this.
I pretend to be dumb so I get out of work. It's an Aquarius thing. I pretend to be incompetent. Like my wife will hand me a mop and say, clean this. And I'll just be like, no. It's called goopy.
All right. Edify to me is to give a compliment, to edify, to talk highly of, and it's my opportunity to show gratitude towards that lead source. Gotcha. So I'm going to start with, if the consumer found you online, then the lead source itself might not need to be edified, but the consumer needs to be edified. Like I can say to them, like, oh, ma'am or sir, first, before we get started, who can I thank for us being connected today? Like, oh, well, I saw you all online. Oh, that's fantastic. That tells me that you are a person who is resourceful and you seek out the knowledge you crave. I'm so happy we were connected that way because I can make sure that I pour even more into you the knowledge that I have from doing this for X amount of years, right? Like I can edify the consumer for finding me online by complimenting them for being what they are. They're resourceful because they're doing it on their own. And they are the type of person who seeks knowledge. And they started with that seeking of knowledge online. Now I'm going to take it next level with them. I'm also at that point setting proper expectations. So that's how I'd edify an online lead. If I work for a credit union and they're using me because they're a member, same exact thing. I'm like, oh, hey, John, hey, out of curiosity, before we get started, by the way, there's so many asks I have where it's out of curiosity. Like, hey, out of curiosity. Again, why am I doing that? Because I want them to drop their guard. I don't want them like getting combative or starting to withdraw, thinking that I'm going to interrogate them. Like, no, this is purely curiosity on my end. So out of curiosity, who do I thank? And you're like, oh, well, I'm a member. Like, oh my gosh. So I'm so grateful that you are a member. I work for this credit union working in the home loan department because I love what the credit union stands for and how we look out for our members. Like I just edified the credit union. I edified the lead source by talking highly of them. What did I say? They look out for their members. I'm happy we were connected that way. Thank you for being a member. And then obviously, if you're referred to me by a realtor, a builder, a financial advisor, or even a past client, then I same exact thing. Hey, John, out of curiosity, before we get started, who should I thank for referring you? And whatever you say, oh, Debbie over at Remax. I'm like, oh, wow. How well do you know Debbie? I don't really care if you know her, just met her 2 days ago because you were connected through realtor.com or you've known her for 20 years. I mean, I do care, right? But because that's going to help me which lane I want to take when I'm edifying Debbie. But nonetheless, when you tell me how you know Debbie, I'm like, well, you probably don't need to hear this from me because you probably already know that would be the person who knows her for 20 years. But no one cares about her clients more than she does. She will fight for you. That's why my team and I love working with Debbie. Let's say they just met Debbie a day ago. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm so happy that you got connected with Debbie because of all the realtors in our market. I have yet to meet someone who cares more about her clients or who fights harder, right? So I find a way to edify the referral source. That's step number one. That says a lot about me as a professional. Hopefully it sets the tone with my consumer, with my customer, with the type of person they're working with. And now I can go on to step number 2, right? So the second question I want to ask everybody, and by the way, I think I said there's 5, there may be 6. Just know that about me. If I say 5, I may add a bonus one in there at any point.
Yeah.
I want to know, is this your first time going through the home buying process, or have you gone through the process before? If you notice, I didn't ask you, is this your first time buying a house? Nope. I want to know how many times have you gone through the process? Because someone may have gone through the process 3 times but never actually pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm. Someone may have gone through the process the year for the past 10 years, at which point this is their 5th transaction that they're doing. I want to know that up front, because once they answer, I will tell them the reason I ask that question is I need to know how fast or how slow to take this transaction. If this is your first time ever, I'll be sure to slow it down, be patient, and make sure that I answer all of your questions. If this is your 5th time getting a home loan in the past 10 years, I want to be cognizant of your time, John, and I want to keep everything short and to the point, but please know you can slow me down and stop me at any time. So that's a bonus question that I throw in, but it is not one of the 5. Number 1 was to edify. Mm-hmm. Number 2, a true home buying consultation is going to ask the home buyer about their comfort monthly payment. Hey, John, so when you're looking to purchase this home and you're sitting down and you're looking at your budget, what is a payment that you're most comfortable with? I call this your comfort monthly payment. And before you respond, John, I want you to know that when I talk about your comfort monthly payment, I'm thinking of the whole kit and caboodle, the whole entire thing. That's principal and interest, that's real estate taxes, that's homeowners insurance, that's PMI, if and when applicable, and homeowners association dues. Because as a consumer, that's how I'd want someone to speak to me. Don't try to get technical and just talk about principal and interest. Don't try to get technical and forget to talk about HOA dues. Nope. Just how much money out of my pocket am I going to have to budget for? And I need to know, what are you comfortable paying? And the reason why I ask that, John, is because I find that in today's day and age, I can qualify people for more home than they want to afford. So I don't want to make it about how much I can qualify you for. I do want to make it about taking your comfort monthly payment and matching it to a sales price. And then also, there are certain times I need to make sure that your comfort monthly payment is realistic for the market that we're in, because there are definitely people out there that, unfortunately for them, what they're comfortable paying doesn't match with any of the homes that are on the market within a 20 or 30 mile radius, at which point they either need to reconsider owning, or they need to maybe reconsider the location and maybe moving within 50 miles and not 20 miles of where they currently work. All right, cool. So I get that information from them. If you notice, I didn't ask them like, oh, what do you like? I didn't get technical. That was my whole deal is I didn't get technical.
Why do you think loan officers kind of do that as like a safety switch, so they get technical, so they want to sound like the smartest person in the room to really sound like they really don't know anything? Or
I think it's just not having formal sales training. Like it's why we do what we do at the TLOP MLO coaching community, right? It's business coaching and sales training. Mm-hmm. I think it's just not understanding the consumer. And too many times, and I even find mortgage companies' marketing departments do this. They make content for other mortgage professionals. So it's like, you ever go to the doctor and the doctor wants to start speaking to you in medical jargon? I'd be lost. I mean, I talk about my childhood best friend, Brian, all the time. He's a Border Patrol agent in San Diego. And I'll get Brian on the phone and he wants to talk to me in law enforcement jargon. And I have to slow him down, like, okay, translate. Like, I speak English, but I don't speak the English that you're speaking. So I think a lot of times it may just be in their brain, they're talking to their processor, their underwriter, their branch manager, instead of a consumer. Yep. So knowing someone's comfort monthly payment is going to really help me do my job. Like, it really is. Because from there, we're going to see how we can back that into, or I should say, marry that to a sales price. And then my next question that I'm going to have to ask them, this is question number 3, with the proper consultation. I want to ask someone, hey, how much money do you have allocated to go towards this transaction, John? And by the way, not every consumer knows what the word allocated means. So I will always say it, how much money you've allocated, but before they answer, I will rephrase it and say, but by the way, when I say allocated, how much money do you have set aside? And the reason why I ask is you may have $100,000 set aside, but you maybe only want to use 20. Or you may have $10,000 set aside, but you only want to use 5. How much money have you earmarked, another way to phrase it, to go towards this transaction for things like down payment and closing costs. What I'm doing is I'm loosely structuring a pre-qual or a pre-approval. What I'm not doing is wasting their time and my time with proper spelling of first name, last name, social, date of birth, where you've lived the past 2 years, where you've worked the past 2 years, position, title. Like, we'll get there. But the first thing I need to do is build rapport, let them see me as the advisor that I am, and ask the important questions that are going to allow me to actually give them proper financial advice as it pertains to purchasing real estate. And in the back of my mind, I am loosely teeing up my pre-qualification and my pre-approval. So once I know how much money you have allocated, at that point, I'm like, okay, I know how much money I'm working with. Now, I may throw in there, hey, out of curiosity, ready? That's another one. Out of curiosity, where's that money coming from? Meaning, is it in your checking account, savings account, 401k? Are you getting a gift from mom or dad? Are you planning on selling a boat or a camper? Like, I throw all of those ideas out at my consumer because these are all things that I've seen throughout my career, and I want to see what they have to say. So once I've understood that where they are in the process, I understand their comfort monthly payment, how much money they have to go towards the transaction. My next two questions are going to be less of questions and more of statements. Now I want to set the tone for two things I know are going to come up. One is going to be interest rates. So I will say, hey, John, this is the fourth item now. Before we get too far along, I find a lot of people that are in your place have questions regarding interest rates.
Yeah, give me the lowest one. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's fantastic, John. And please know that I'm a mortgage lender 24/7, 365. That's all I do. And my job is to help you get the best mortgage, which may very well be the lowest interest rate. But you know what's crazy? It's not always the lowest interest rate. Like, I could give you a low interest rate, but it has a high payment. Or I could give you a low interest rate, but we can't meet your financial goals when it comes to having the lowest amount of money out of pocket. So know this about interest rates. Interest rates change on a daily basis. In fact, they tend to change 4 to 5 times a day based on the daily trading of mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities are bonds. So just like stocks are traded daily, bonds are traded daily. And it's the daily trading of those bonds that's going to move interest rates one way or the other. Another thing you should know about interest rates is that whether rates go up 0.1% or down 0.1%, even at your loan size, you're probably talking about $30 a month, one direction or the other. So rates will fluctuate 3-4 times a day, every single day from now until you buy a house, and you might not buy a house for 3 or 4 months. So when I talk about interest rates, I'm going to use a very general, loose rate. I'm typically going to take wherever I think rates are and add 0.25%. And the reason why I do that is because no one's ever got mad at me when their payment came in lower than I estimated and their cost or their cash to close came in less than I estimated. So I'm always going to err on the conservative side of accurate for you. But what you really should know about interest rates is more than likely we're not going to be able to lock you in until you're under contract. And when I lock you in, that rate will be good for anywhere between 30, 45, upwards of 60 days, but normally 30 days is normal. And I can't lock you in until you go under contract. So between now and you go under contract, rates are going to change multiple times a day. But more importantly, if they go from 6.3 to 6.5, you're literally talking about $30-$40 a month. That's not going to break the bank. In fact, when it comes to your payment, and we'll talk more about this, but I just want you to know at this initial call, when it comes to your payment, things that are going to impact your payment worse than rate, things like property taxes, things like homeowners insurance, and things like homeowners association dues. You could see one property versus another property be $1,000 more a year to insure. That $1,000 a year is roughly $83 a month. So obviously you and I can agree 83 is more than 40. So that's the difference between a home being expensive to insure or less expensive to insure. Same exact thing goes for homeowners association dues. You could find a community that has no HOA, or you could find a community whose HOA is $100 a month. So the big thing I want you to know about interest rates is they change daily. And I also want you to know that I don't get paid any different based on your interest rate or based on your loan program. So it's in my best interest to help you find the best rate for which you qualify for. But that also comes with the payment that you're looking to achieve, and using the budget that you set forth for total cash out of pocket. In fact, John, that leads me on to probably my last point I wanted to make before I take a breath and let you ask me any questions. But the fifth element to make sure that I'm giving you a proper home buying consultation is to let you know that I am going to give you options. Like I said just a minute ago, it doesn't matter to me which interest rate you choose or which loan program. You could choose a 15-year fixed, a 30-year fixed, FHA, or conventional. None of that matters to me. What matters to me is I'm going to give you options for which you qualify, but more importantly, those options match your financial needs, wants, and goals. Normally, I give borrowers or home buyers like you 2 to 3 options, and then you get to select the option that works best for you and your family. But those options are what we discussed during your interest rate lock strategy call, and we can't do that until you're at a point when you're ready to lock in a rate, and you won't be ready to lock in a rate until you're under contract. So those are just some things I want you to know. Please know, like, I will give you my app. You can download it on your phone. You can run your own payments. I can give you a range of where rates have been. I'll tell you they've been between 6 and probably 6.75 recently. So I tell you to use like 6.5 to be safe. And then as you get closer to finding that specific property, we can start to sharpen the pencil a little bit based on what the market is doing. So that is what I'd want you to know. The only other thing that I would have thrown into this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that I didn't, it would have been like the second bonus. I gave you the bonus item up front where I asked the person how many times they've gone through the home buying process. I should have also figured out and shared with you that another bonus question you should get in that first initial consultation is, what's their timeline, right? So I edified, great. I asked them how often or how many times have they gone through the home buying process. I need to know basically what speed I want to go. We talked about comfort monthly payment. We talked about how much money they have allocated to go towards the transaction. I now gave them the scoop on mortgage interest rates, and I set the tone that I'm going to make sure that I give them 3 options, that I am their 3-option lender, and that I don't get paid any different based on their options. But those options will make sure that they A, qualify, but B, it matches their financial needs, wants, and goals. I can add in there figuring out their timeline, and then I could tie it down with the next steps are. So, hey, John, the next steps are X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to walk you through how that would look like. John, the last thing I want you to know before we talk about the next steps is what I like to call my lender for life commitment. Like, you and I just met today because you were referred to me by Debbie at Remax, or because you're a member of the credit union, or because you found us online. And I'm grateful for that. But I want you to know that for me, I'm trying to build a relationship where I'm going to be your lender for life. I'm going to be a source of information. I'm going to be that guy that I don't want to just help you with this loan. I want to help you when you refinance in 2 years, when you buy your first investment property, when your kids get old enough that they're ready to buy a house. I want to be that guy that you call when you get something in the mail that confuses you. You know to call me, and at a minimum, I will break it down. I can spend 5 minutes with you for that because I'm trying to enter into a relationship where you trust me as your go-to source. So I want you to know about that. I want you to know at any time you can ask me questions, slow me down, text me, email me, call me. Please know I tend to work typically Monday through Friday. I'm available 8 to 6. There's certain nights and weekends, if it's important, I'll make myself available to you. But my working hours are 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, and text, email, and phone call are all 3 things that are available. So the next things I have left for you, and you can do this tonight when you get home, John, but it's the boring, it's the minutia, it's I do need to gather your information, proper spelling your first and last name, your social, your date of birth, where you worked the past 2 years. And then I need to document certain things such as your income, such as your assets, because there's a lot of regulation within my industry and a lot of rules we have to follow. And most loan programs that we're going to look to use are going to want me to verify your income, verify your assets, verify your employment. And there's a certain structure and set of information I need to gather from you. There's some legal questions you have to answer, et cetera, et cetera. But those are things that you can work on tonight. You can do it online. My team can send you a link. It's secure. You can even set up your online access, an online portal that allows us to communicate to you electronically. And we'll take it to the next step. And then that's when I would say, hey, John, before I let you run, do you have any questions? Right? So there's obviously things that we can add. And there's things that I added just today where we kicked off the episode thinking, oh, well, there's 5. Well, there's 5 main things you need to cover. And then there's probably another 3 to 4 subcategories that should also be covered, like the lender for life, like talking about the next steps, like figuring out their time frame, like also figuring out how many times they've gone through the home buying process. And then I'll throw in one more subcategory to make it a total of 10 now. And that last category would be an ask. Hey, John, I have one more ask. Would you mind reaching out to, especially if it was referred by a human, would you mind reaching out to Debbie and just text her, let her know that you and I connected? And if you enjoyed this conversation, you're excited to work with me, would you let her know that as well? Or maybe even share something that you learned by talking with me, right? So that's something that I would want to ask in that first home buying consultation. It's almost like a bookend. I started off by edifying Debbie. Now I want to ask the home buyer, the prospective borrower, to reach out to Debbie to thank Debbie for referring me because I want more of Debbie's referrals. I could do the same exact thing if it was an online lead. If I knew where that lead was generated, I could maybe ask a person, hey, would you mind, if you liked how this conversation went, you're excited to work with me, would you mind going online and giving us a review? Like, I could ask for that up front. Like, wow, had a great consultation, looking forward to working with them. Or even if I was at a credit union, hey, would you mind, sending an email into customer service and just letting them know how excited you are to work with me and that I did a good job? Because all I'm trying to do is have more people looking at my way, my boss, the online lead generation company, or Debbie the realtor, and I want them referring me more.
Well said, Dustin. Wow. Round of applause on that. Fucking golden.
Thank you, John. I so appreciate that. Look, the people ask and we deliver. That's how this works. So we have one more ask. Here's our ask. If you like this content that we're doing, sharing is caring, please make sure you share this with not 1, not 2, but 3 of your colleagues, your referral sources, or heck, even your prospective home buyers. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. Go to our website, tloponline.com. Go ahead and bookmark it. Save it as one of your favorites. Continue coming back to it as a resource because we are dumping a lot of time and money into making that one of the best resources for the mortgage industry. And more specifically, when you're there, sign up for our newsletter. It comes out every single Thursday and it is free. On that note, he is John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode or at a city near you. Peace.